Grandpa's fancy watch. A long, long time ago, before even the iPhone, Grandpa Hans had a fancy wristwatch. It had no battery and nothing to wind it up. As long as he moved, so did the watch's hands. It was some slick trick. Grandpa's forearms looked like holiday hams. They rippled from the meat he chopped year after year at the butcher's shop. How did he slip on that watch? Grandpa would take it off and tell me to watch the hands, slow to a stop. "Don't shoot," they'd say. He'd tell me to close my eyes and count to 20. When I opened them, I'd look at the hands, waving, "We're alive, we're alive." The watch died when Grandpa Hans did, its hands clasped in prayer. I just so love this poem, Grandpa's Fancy Watch by Peter Kahn. It's the opening poem from his collection Little Kings. And I first heard it about 3 years ago, I think. Peter was one of the founder members of Malika's Poetry Kitchen, the collective that I've been the director of since 2010. And I think I first heard it when he brought it to a session that he was teaching for us. I really love story, and so the fact that this is a narrative poem really appeals to me. And I love how it starts with that, not quite once upon a time, but a long, long time ago. You kind of know that you're in for a good story. And then the next bit, before even the iPhone, and all of a sudden you bang up to date. I never knew any of my grandpas, but my dad had not a fancy watch, but a watch that worked like this one from the movement of the body. It kept the spring tightened and kept the watch going. And Peter and I are both Jewish, with the emphasis on the second syllable. And even though there's nothing specific in this poem about our heritage, there's something of the Jewish family feeling about it. So I kind of feel familiar with Peter's world, even though it talks about holiday hams, which is, not kosher to eat ham. But who cares about keeping kosher? I don't, and I don't think Peter does either. I like the imagery, of course. What's a poem without imagery? And how he talks about the hands, don't shoot, and waving, "We're alive, we're alive." How he, I guess, personifies the hands of the watch. They can speak, and the watch is putting its hand up. I really like that. And the magic of that, as well as the magic of a watch that goes without having a battery or needing to be wound up. As he says in the poem, some slick trick. And the ending again, those hands clasped in prayer, and the idea that the watch dies when its owner dies as well, like a faithful dog might. It's just a beautiful poem. I read it for you at the beginning of this recording, but if you want to hear Peter read it himself in the correct accent, of course, you can do so on the Nine Arches YouTube channel. Such a lovely poem, such a lovely story. This series is called I Know That Is Poetry. Frankly, I don't care whether this is poetry or not. I just love it.